Every day, the internet decides what matters. Stories rise and fall at lightning speed, often driven by controversy, shock, or spectacle. But today, Blake Shelton is trending for a reason that feels refreshingly different. No scandal, no headline-grabbing announcement, just one simple moment that quietly changed the conversation. The moment did not begin with cameras rolling or an audience waiting. It happened naturally, in a public setting where Blake Shelton was going about his day. There was nothing extraordinary about the location. What made it extraordinary was what followed. Witnesses describe a brief pause. Blake Shelton noticed someone nearby, unsure, hesitant, clearly debating whether to step forward. Instead of moving on, instead of letting the moment pass, he stopped. That decision alone became the foundation of everything that followed. He gave the person his full attention, not the kind of attention that is rushed or divided, but the kind that makes someone feel seen. There was no sense of obligation, no performance, just presence. In today's celebrity culture, moments like this stand out because they are increasingly rare. Public figures are often protected by distance, physical and emotional. Fans are used to quick interactions, brief acknowledgments, and carefully managed appearances. This was different. People nearby felt it immediately. The energy shifted, conversations paused, phones came out, not because something dramatic was unfolding, but because something genuine was happening, a human moment in a public space. The interaction itself was short, but its impact was not. Once clips and images began circulating online, the response was immediate and widespread. Blake Shelton's name began trending, not attached to music charts or television ratings, but to words like kind, real, and humble. Viewers from around the world stopped scrolling. They watched, then they watched again, not because the clip was flashy, but because it felt honest. Comment sections filled with reflections rather than arguments. People shared stories of moments when a stranger's kindness changed their day. Others spoke about feeling invisible in crowds and how meaningful it can be when someone takes the time to notice. Blake Shelton did not comment on the moment. There was no caption, no explanation, no attempt to shape the narrative. That silence only amplified the authenticity. It made it clear that the moment had not been created for attention, it had simply been captured. Longtime fans recognized this behavior instantly. Over the years, Blake Shelton has built a reputation for being grounded, approachable, and comfortable in his own skin. This moment felt consistent with that image, not crafted to enhance it. For those less familiar with him, the moment served as an introduction not to his career, but to his character. It reminded people that fame does not automatically erase humanity. As the day went on, the story spread beyond fan communities. Entertainment media began covering it, framing the moment as a reminder of how powerful simplicity can be. Analysts noted that stories like this resonate because they offer contrast. They feel like a pause in a loud world. Blake Shelton was trending not because he demanded attention, but because he gave it. And that choice struck a nerve. This was not a moment designed to go viral. It became viral because people wanted to share something positive, something reassuring, something real. As more people encountered the story, the conversation began to deepen. It was no longer just about Blake Shelton. It was about presence, about slowing down, about how small actions can carry weight far beyond their size. And as the internet continued to move, scroll, and refresh, this simple moment refused to disappear.
As the story continued to spread, something unusual happened. Instead of burning out quickly like most viral moments, it slowed people down. Viewers didn't just consume it and move on. They reflected on it. They talked about it. They connected it to their own experiences. Across social media platforms, the tone of the conversation felt different. There was less noise and more thought. People weren't arguing or speculating. They were remembering. remembering moments when a small gesture had made them feel valued, remembering times when someone took a few extra seconds and changed their entire day. Blake Shelton's quiet action became a symbol of something many people felt they were missing. In a world where attention is divided and patience feels rare, the idea of being truly seen resonated deeply. The moment reminded people that kindness does not need to be dramatic to be powerful. Fans from around the world shared their reactions. Some admitted they had never paid much attention to Blake Shelton before, yet this moment made them stop and reconsider. Others said it reinforced why they had followed his career for so long. The responses crossed generations, cultures, and backgrounds, proving that authenticity speaks a universal language. Media coverage followed, but it carried a different tone than usual. Headlines focused less on fame and more on meaning. Commentators pointed out that the moment worked precisely because it wasn't designed to work. It wasn't polished, edited, or promoted. It was real. Blake Shelton remained mostly silent as the attention grew. That silence mattered. It allowed the moment to belong to the people who experienced it, rather than turning it into a statement or a campaign. By not explaining it, he preserved its honesty. Industry observers noted how rare that approach has become. In an era where every public action is often followed by messaging and branding, choosing not to respond can be its own form of confidence. It suggests comfort with who you are and no need to prove it. As time passed, the story began to settle into something more lasting. It stopped being just a trending topic and became a reference point. People returned to it in comments, discussions, and quiet mentions, not because it demanded attention, but because it offered reassurance. The moment also sparked a wider conversation about influence. It reminded people that influence is not always measured by volume or visibility. Sometimes it is measured by impact, the kind that lingers quietly in the background of someone's thoughts. For Blake Shelton, the moment did not change who he was. It simply revealed it more clearly. It aligned with what many had long believed about him, and it introduced that belief to those who hadn't known him before. In the end, what made Blake Shelton trend today wasn't a headline or a performance. It was a decision, a choice to pause, a choice to pay attention, a choice to treat someone like they mattered. That simple moment didn't just change the internet's focus for a day. It reminded millions of people that kindness still carries weight, that presence still matters, and that sometimes the smallest actions create the deepest impact. And that is why Blake Shelton is trending today.